my cousin, she gave birth to a young boy, a little baby boy, and when he was born, he had congenital heart disease.
I mean, like I said, it's just wild just thinking of that. Like, here's Jesus, a man, spinning on the ground, all this dirt, making nice little mud with all that saliva, and just...
They knew the Pharisees were trying to trap them. He worshipped Jesus, and Jesus didn't say stop. What does that tell you?
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Mixed Blessing Podcast. I'm your host, Mike. This is my beautiful wife, Tandy.
Hi.
So we've been going through the Gospel of John. Last week we did chapter 8. This week we're moving forward with chapter 9. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Okay. All right. So we've got our Bibles open and we are in chapter 9. So let's get started. As he walked along, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" Jesus answered, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him." And I highlighted section of verse 3. He was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. And I wrote in the margins, a baby born with problems could be used or purposed to show the works and glory of God. And in my margin, I also wrote with an arrow pointing at that, it shows that the more important thing than our health is the glory of God, which is a whole word. So I know even myself, my cousin, she gave birth to a young boy, a little baby boy. And when he was born, he had congenital heart disease and he needed life-saving surgery, but he was too little. So they had to wait until he was 8 months old in order for them to go ahead and do his heart surgery. And you can imagine how tiny an 8-month-old's heart is that they were operating on. But I say that to say it's not necessarily that he was sick because his parents did something wrong, but God really showed up because our whole family came together to pray for him, to pray for his parents. We all were so spiritual. People in the family that hadn't prayed in years were praying on behalf of that child. And it really brought us all closer to each other and to God. And not only that, God showed his glory in answering our prayer that he did have a safe surgery, that his heart is working now. He's a rambunctious, I think he's 7 years old now, and he's enjoying life. So I would just say, to mothers and fathers that may have children that are sick and you're doubting God or wondering like, God, how could you let this happen? The Lord is working for his own glory, and thank God that he is able to rise above our concerns. So with our health, our children especially, we just want to lean on God. We want to just say, hey, God, you know what? I know you're doing something right now. I know that you're busy and you're doing something I can't understand. And it hurts me. This is hurting me right now. And I want to give that pain to you. I want to give my concerns to you. I want to give everything to you. My life, my children, my health, everything belongs to you. You give and you take away, and give me comfort while you're doing what you're doing, Lord. So that's what I would say is a useful and helpful prayer when we're going through terrible things like this. And this man was sick from he was a child, so you can imagine the kind of pain he might have been in. So picking it back up in verse 4, we must work the works of him who sent me while it's day. Night is coming when no one can work. As long as I'm in the world, I am the light of the world. When he said this, he spat on the ground, made mud with the saliva, and spread the mud on the man's eyes, saying to him, "Go wash in the pool of Siloam," which means sent. Then he went and washed and came back able to see. The neighbors and those who had seen him before as a beggar began to ask, "Is this not the man who used to sit and beg?" Some were saying, "It is he." Others were saying, "No, but it's someone like him." He kept saying, "I am the man." But they kept asking him, "Then how were your eyes open?" He answered, "The man called Jesus made mud, spread it on my eyes, and said to me, 'Go to Siloam and wash.' Then I went and washed and received my sight."
One of Jesus' miracles is him healing a blind man. We're here, verse 6, where it says, "He spit on the ground, made some mud with saliva, and put it on the man's eyes." Obviously, the man, blind at the time, probably didn't see it, but like, imagine if you were a witness to that. Like, you see Jesus just like spitting on the ground, like, or however he did it, you know.
Ew.
It may have not been as
They didn't have Crest or Colgate. They didn't have no Listerine.
But imagine seeing that he spits on the ground with his own saliva. He makes mud. her face is like, ugh. But the fact that whatever this magical mud.
What does your Bible say about this mud, man? Like, is there any commentary on this mud? This
Let me see.
loogie mud.
Let me see. It says.
Did he like pull it back before he did
it? It says here, Jesus used variety in his cures. He could turn even the dirt of the earth into a medium of restoration. I mean, like I said, it's just wild just thinking of that. Like, here's Jesus, a man, spinning on the ground, all this dirt, making nice little mud with all that saliva, and just I'm gonna go ahead and smear some of this on you.
First of all, I don't want mud on my face in the beginning. Not to mention mud made with someone's spit.
The man didn't know.
Only
okay?
Jesus. Okay, it's only Jesus that will be able to put some spit mud on my face, and I'll be happy about it. All right.
Right. But
Jesus,
the man
you're the
probably,
only one.
you know, the man probably only heard the spit. He probably only heard the spit, and unless we don't know if Jesus was explaining to him like, let me go ahead and spit on this ground.
Hold on. I just thought about that. Just imagine you're blind, right? And some stranger is going by. The guy I just read through chapter 9 again. So as he walked along, he saw a blind man from birth. The disciples asked him who sinned, his parents or him, that he was born blind. Jesus said neither him or his parents. It's so God's works might be revealed. We work in the day, night no one could work. As long as I'm in the world, I'm the light of the world. When he said this, he spat on the ground, made mud with saliva, and spread the mud on the man's eyes. Hold on. Wait a minute. The man did not ask Jesus to do this. So I just had to check. But the man who was blind was just minding his business. So he's just being blind.
It looks like he was also a beggar.
Yeah, a beggar.
He's probably just
sitting there with let's just imagine him with a cup. Give me some money, I'm blind, right? Sitting down. Probably skinny, dirty, minding his business, right? Just begging. And here comes Jesus and his disciples. Hey, look at that guy, he's blind.
Yeah, his disciples are just like, let me just ask this question. They see a blind man.
Like,
so
hey,
Jesus,
what about
this man,
that guy over there? What did he do, Jesus? I know you know. What did that guy do?
Did he sin or was it his parents' fault?
Yeah, was it his parents? What they did? You know, and it's weird because, like, he's right there. Like, he can probably hear you. Blind people can hear really well most of the time. So not only that, now you doing all this talking about this man while he's sitting there. And then he's blind, just sitting there, you know, Ray Charlesing it up. And then all of a sudden, someone spit mud on his eyes. Like, did they give him a warning?
I don't know. If you think about it, I wonder how that scene played out because he's probably here blind.
What did he try to punch Jesus?
Like I said, his disciples just start
on
talking.
My face, bro.
This blind guy's probably like, yo, these guys over here talking trash about me. Like, did I sin? Did my parents sin? And all of a sudden, and he's just like, mind his business. And all of a sudden, what in the? Oh. No. He had to go to the pool first. Yeah.
Covered in spit, saliva, mud. And then Jesus was like, go wash in that. Now I'm like, I want to give my Savior the benefit of the doubt. Did Jesus tell this man like, hey guy, do you want some healing? You come to me.
There could have been
I'll
more
help
to
you
it.
out.
There could have been more to the
like,
story. You know?
I'm gonna put this on your face. It's gonna feel weird.
Don't be alarmed.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't be alarmed.
With this wet, cold mud.
Ugh. I'm gonna put this on your face and you're gonna feel better. You just gotta go wash over there. Now, I'm imagining, so, all jokes aside, in order for you to get a miracle from Jesus, you needed to believe in him first. And apparently the man that just got spit on trusted Jesus enough that he did what Jesus said. So the man must have known that it was Jesus. So I'm imagining that Jesus announced himself, or there were people following Jesus, so he knew, who
They'd heard it through the town.
Yeah.
Hearsay and all that.
Right. So I'm imagining that was the case. And also in chapter 8, the scene that we're in is that Jesus is teaching. Like he's at, I think he's at the temple teaching. So there's a crowd around him. Early in the morning, he's at the temple and he's teaching there. So I'm imagining that maybe the blind guy is just in the crowd of people that Jesus is talking to. And he knows that that's Jesus and that Jesus is known to heal. So maybe I'm just trying to help Jesus's case here. So maybe the man came to Jesus specifically for healing and he knew who Jesus was. So that's why he allowed this man to spit. Because I think in Near Eastern culture, spitting on someone is like the highest disrespect, like one of the highest disrespects you can do. So I'm imagining that he knew it was Jesus and trusted him, believed in him, and that's why he got his miracle.
Well, if you see here, and later on in verse 11, when other people are over there asking, like, how are your eyes even open? It says he replied, the man they call Jesus made some mud and put it on my eyes. He didn't mention the spit. So it's possible he didn't even know about the spit.
Oh my goodness.
It's just like, it was mud. it was mud. But yeah, those who saw it, like his disciples, definitely.
Yeah, you know what? And then even so, he said the man called Jesus, as if he didn't really know who Jesus was.
Yeah.
He didn't say like the Messiah or, he just said like, he didn't even say the teacher. He just said like, hey, that guy over there.
Made some
they
mud.
said his name was Jesus.
Put it on my eyes.
Put some mud on me, but maybe he didn't know it was saliva. To the pool. Yeah, to just wash. My goodness, I don't know. Anyway, it's a strange story. I don't think I fully understand if there's symbolism in that. I don't understand.
The fact is, Jesus could use the dirt of the earth and turn it into a miracle.
Is that what your study Bible says?
No, but that's what it is. He took dirt. He made out of dirt. He made mud and turned that into a miracle. That's the power and authority of Jesus right there. The fact that he could heal a man born blind with mud. Man, not just mud, but man-made mud out of spit.
Gross. All right.
Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on. Verse 13. They brought to the Pharisees the man who had been blind. Now the day on which Jesus had made the mud and opened the man's eyes was a Sabbath. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. He put mud on my eyes, the man replied, and I washed and now I see. Some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from God, for he does not keep the Sabbath. But others asked, how can a sinner perform such signs? So they were divided. Then they turned again to the blind man. What have you to say about him? It was your eyes he opened. The man replied, he is a prophet. They still did not believe that he had been blind and had received his sight until they sent for the man's parents. Is this your son? They asked. Is this the one you say was born blind? How is it that now he can see? We know he is our son, the parents answered, and we know he was born blind. But how he can see now or who opened his eyes, we don't know. Ask him. He is of age. He will speak for himself.
They threw their son under the bus. They said, listen, he's a grown man now, right? He moved out of the house. We empty nesters. And I'm not responsible for what this man does, okay? How dare he be healed on the Sabbath?
He was blind. But...
he's supposed to stay blind on the Sabbath. Why couldn't he get healed on Sunday? You couldn't heal him on Friday. You gonna heal him on the Sabbath? So I mean, his parents just like totally threw him under the bus. They smelled the problems. They knew the Pharisees were trying to trap them.
Mhm.
Like, this is a trap. They are not happy about this. I don't want nothing to do with this. My name Bennett, and I ain't in it. Amen. That's what the parents is saying.
Well, to that point, verse 22 as it continues, his parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders who already had decided that anyone who acknowledged that Jesus was the Messiah would be put out of the synagogue. That was why his parents said, "He is of age, ask him."
Mm-hmm. They said, put him out of the synagogue.
Right.
Don't put me out.
Right. A second time they summoned the man who had been blind. "Give glory to God by telling the truth," they said. "We know this man is a sinner." He replied, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I don't know. One thing I do know, I was blind, but now I see." Then they asked him, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" Here he goes, he has to relive the moment with that mud. He answered, "I have told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?" Then they hurled insult at him and said, "You are this fellow's disciple. We are disciples of Moses. We know that God spoke to Moses, but as for this fellow, we don't even know where he comes from." The man answered, "Now that is remarkable. You don't know where he comes from, yet he opened my eyes. We know that God does not listen to sinners. He listens to the godly person who does his will. Nobody has ever heard of opening the eyes of a man born blind. If this man were not from God, he could do nothing." To this they replied, "You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us?" And they threw him out.
Wow. How presumptuous, elitist, and how telling that the beggar blind man with the parents that didn't care about him, apparently, because they were just like, yeah, ask this guy. We're not responsible for him anymore. So we're gonna leave, but go get him. So this guy, he is schooling the Pharisees, the Jewish religious leaders who knew the law of God backwards and forwards, upward, down. He's schooling them. Like, that's amazing. Like, you don't know where this guy came from? Obviously he came from God, because he's healing people. He's doing things that you cannot do unless you are of God. So what do you mean? How can you not see that? And they were pissed. They were just like, how dare you?
Get out.
Get out. Get out for being right. You have parents like that. You know, I know that there are some parents like that. Like, I know I don't ever want to be that kind of parent where my kids catch me like, shouldn't you know this? Or didn't you say that? And then I get mad at them like, you get out of here. Hey, how dare you get on out of here. I don't want to be that parent, but it's an ego hit when you know you should know something, but you try not to acknowledge it, or you try not to call attention to the fact that you don't know, or you don't want it to be true. And then somebody else calls you out like, yo, son, no, you.
Yeah, their comeback was, "You were steeped in sin at birth. How dare you lecture us?"
Which is crazy, because like they think when they were born there was no sin on them. Like, you were born sinless. Like, how? What do you think? Like, and it's not even. And that's the thing too. We talked about in Jewish culture. Like, a lot of it was intellectual sparring. And this beggar, dirty, blind guy that sits on the floor begging is intellectually beating them down. So they have no intellectual comeback. There's no debate point that they can come back with to win the argument. So now they have to go to like stuff that has nothing to do with what the man said. The man is talking about you understanding what God allows people to do, and you're talking about how he was born,
right? And
his status in the world. His status has nothing to do with whether or not he's right.
Right. I was blind. I'm not blind.
Yes. And because
the man who healed me, obviously, if he wasn't from God, how could I have been healed by this man? Mm-hmm. Get out of here.
Yeah. That's right. That's exactly what happened. Who invited this guy? You did, twice.
Sinner.
You brought him 2 times to talk about the same thing. Jesus heard that they had driven him out, and when he found him, he said, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He answered, "And who is he, sir?" So that right there, that tells you all this time, this guy didn't even know Jesus is the Messiah. He had no idea. He was just like, I don't know who that guy is, but he did something. Like,
It's the mud.
yeah, he's a prophet or something. So Jesus is like, do you believe in the Son of Man? He answered, "And who is he, sir? Tell me so that I may believe in him." Because now he trusts Jesus implicitly. He trusts Jesus and he doesn't even know the full truth. That's some strong faith. And Jesus says to him, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." He said, "Lord, I believe." And he worshiped him. Oh, here's my highlighter coming on out. He worshiped him. He said, "Lord, I believe," and worshiped him. So in the comments, tell me, do you know of any places in the Bible where it was a good thing for people to worship anyone other than God? No, people that worship anyone other than God, they were the bad guys. But here, this man is worshiping Jesus. And Jesus is not telling him to stop. He's not saying, no, I'm only a man. Worship only God. Whenever people have been afraid of angels in the Bible and they bend down to worship the angels quickly correct the people. They say, "Hey, stop. I'm a creature just like you. Don't bow down and worship me. Worship only God. Worship only the Lord." But in this situation, he worshiped Jesus and Jesus didn't say stop. What does that tell you? That Jesus is God. So the Gospel of John all over is clearly telling us that Jesus is God, worthy of worship. He is equal to the Father and distinct from the Father. And this is why we believe in the Trinity. Jesus said to this man while he's worshiping him, Jesus said, "I came into this world for judgment, so that those who do not see may see, and those who do see may become blind." Some of the Pharisees near him heard this and said to him, "Surely we are not blind, are we?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would not have sinned. But now you say, 'We see,' your sin remains." That was chapter 9. So the Pharisees are starting to catch on to Jesus. Like, they don't like the insults. They don't like being wrong. They don't like that he's getting a following. They don't like the people who are worshiping him like God. They don't like his claims to be God, be equal to God, or the Son of God. And it looks like things are ramping up. He told them that if you were blind, you wouldn't have the sin. But you're not blind. You're the people that see. So you have your sin. Your sin is upon you. Like, you know who I am. That's the point. If this blind, and that's what's crazy. This man is blind. He's blind, literally. And he still can see who Jesus is. Mm-hmm. Without Jesus having told him, "I'm the Messiah, I'm the Son of God, I'm Son of Man, Isaiah talked about me, Moses talked about me." This blind man didn't hear any of that. All he saw was, this man put some mud on my face. I washed it off and now I can see. And he was right there, like, telling the Pharisees, clearly this man is a prophet. Clearly he's from God. He could see and he was blind. But the Pharisees that could clearly, like, literally see with their eyes, they couldn't see that Jesus is from God. And that's what Jesus is talking about down here. He said, "I came into the world so that those who do not see may see, and those who do see can become blind." And there you go. The people that don't see Jesus. The man that was blind sees Jesus. The people that do see, they don't see Jesus. If you were blind, you wouldn't have sinned. So what were you going to say? I'm so sorry.
No, baby. I was just going to say my study Bible, my notes for that verse 41. It basically says here, the Pharisees' claim to sight showed their complete unawareness of their spiritual blindness and need. And though they claimed to have sight, their actions were evidence of their blindness. So, as Jesus was saying, and as the man who was healed was basically trying to tell them, like, this man is from God. How could he not be? And the Pharisees, as usual, are constantly trying to negate anything that Jesus tries to do, and Jesus claimed to be, as him as the Messiah and God, and the Pharisees are always trying to negate that. trying to stone him or kill him or run him off or whatever it is. But the man who was blind, clearly, I mean, he was healed, so he's gonna feel and he's gonna want to. The fact that he was healed, I mean, yeah, he's gonna. This guy who healed me, I want to believe you. I want to believe in you, and he did. So that was chapter 9, y'all. Thank y'all for reading this chapter with us. Any questions or concerns or any comments you want to leave, go ahead and drop it in the comment section. If y'all like what you hear, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're going to continue on with the Gospel of John. Next week we'll be doing chapter 10. As last week we kind of introduced our little side project. Here's this little Bible purse that you probably saw my wife open and close. Her Bible's in there. It's an everyday purse that she uses. You can have her Bible in there on the go, especially when it's time for church. She just picks it up and goes. And when she's at church just studying the word, she just opens this thing up and boom, her Bible's in there. It's still in the works. This is the prototype. This is one of one. We're getting ready to start a Kickstarter in the near future. But yeah, it is stylish. There's not a lot of Bible purses out there with this kind of quality, with these kind of looks, and this fashionability, with an everyday purse that you could use. So keep in tune where we'll provide more updates as we get them. Like I said, this is a prototype. This is one of one. I'm still in production and trying to make little adjustments here and there to have that official for it to be ready to go and sell. So.
Yep, we're still designing it, refining it, and we'll let you guys know. So click that bell notification so you don't miss anything. Subscribe and leave a comment for us. Hit that like button also so that more people can see our videos and hopefully more people be interested in our projects. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day. See you next week.
Deuces.